hear some words of Torah from Rabbi David Kaplinsky.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It has been such a joy to get to meet all of you over the past couple of days and so many of you tonight. And just thank you so much for the warm welcome and for the excitement and kindness that you've showed me. It really has meant a lot, and really lovely to be with you and get to know you and your kids and this whole crew. It's really wonderful and exciting. I thought tonight, as we've just finished up Kabbalat Shabbat, that this might be a good opportunity to take a second and think about what is Kabbalat Shabbat all about? What is this service that we just sang? What is it trying to do? What are the themes of it, and how is it supposed to touch us and bring us into this spirit of Shabbat? And so, one of the beautiful things about Kabbalat Shabbat is actually it's one of the newest services to be fully accepted by the Jewish world. It's only 400 years old, But in Jewish terms, that's not very long. And it was developed by the Kabbalists, the mystics of Sfat, who lived in the north of Israel. And they developed this service because they felt that there was something missing from the Shabbat liturgy. Usually Shabbat started with Mariv, which we're about to just do. That brings us into the spirit of Shabbat. But it's hard to get into the spirit of Shabbat. It's not an easy task to be able to suddenly switch off the energy, the work, the tiredness of the week and just suddenly be in a moment of calm, zen, relaxation. And so they developed this amazing service which has also a beautiful structure, and it might be something you have never even noticed before, and you can check me on this, but Kabbalat Shabbat actually is structured like the days of the week. It actually has 6 Tehillim, 6 Psalms, then Lecha Dodi, and then the Psalm for Shabbat. So it is structured like 6 days of the week. Lecha Dodi is a bridge into Shabbat, a poetic bridge into Shabbat, and then we arrive with the Psalm for Shabbat, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat. And so it's giving us an opportunity with this ancient form to put these Tehillim together, these Psalms together, and have us go on a journey through the week that we've just experienced to find that transition through Lecha Dodi, through welcoming the Shabbat bride, and then finding ourselves situated in Shabbat, finally. And the question about that, okay, that's a beautiful structure, but what are the themes of this liturgy? How is it picked? Yeah, they could have picked any Psalms. There's 150 Psalms. We use lots of different Tehillim all over Jewish liturgy. But there are a couple of themes that recur over and over again in Kabbalat Shabbat. And the first motif that I noticed is the invitation to sing to God, right? We start our service with Lechu neranena l'Adonai, or Lechu neranena. Please come and sing. Come shout to God, right? We invite everyone in, and then later in the Kabbalat Shabbat service, we say, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, right? Let's sing to God a new song, or Mizmor Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. We have this new song. We want to bring something new and exciting into the world that Shabbat brings out in us. And these psalms that start with this motif of singing bring us into that need for the elevated, beautiful space of Shabbat rest and the completion of the week's work. The second major motif is God's sovereignty over the universe, right? It uses the word melech or malach. God reigns. God is king or queen or the power that is the control of the universe. We say, Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim. Right? God is great, and God is the king over all other powers. Adonai malach tagel aretz. Right? God reigns and the earth rejoices. Adonai malach yirgezu amim, right? Adonai reigns and the nations tremble. And the interesting thing about this is that these two themes actually go back and forth from psalm to psalm. We start with this invitation to sing, and actually the first psalm that we use starts with an invitation to sing, and the next line is about God being king, being sovereign over the universe. And then we go back and forth. We sing a new song, right? And then we have God is king, and then we have a new song, and God is king. And so we have this back and forth, and that points to me something I think about the nature of Shabbat, or what the creators of this service, the Kabbalists, thought about the nature of Shabbat. Now, one thing is that Shabbat is the perfect time to sing. In order to get into the space of Shabbat, we need invitations, right? We say, Lechu neranena. We don't just say, okay, we're singing now. We say, come on, you got to get in on this, right? This is an opportunity. You got to invite people into the space of song. And like I said, it's not easy to leave the realities of the mundane world and just start singing. We need help. An invitation denotes the transition into this holy space and a kind of leap of faith that we make into the Shabbat reality. And then Shabbat also reminds us of God's ownership of the universe, our place in it, and how our practice of Shabbat affirms our belief in that by honoring God's act of creation and rest. When we stop trying to dominate the world, we remind ourselves that we are not its ultimate master. We see beyond our brief time on this planet to the world of the eternal. We finish, actually, Kabbalat Shabbat with the words, Erotecha nemnu me'od levedcha na'ava kodesh Adonai le'orech yamim. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, forevermore. So there is this element of the eternal that exists in Shabbat where we recognize that we are just a small piece of the bigger puzzle. And so the beauty of the fact that these two themes go back and forth in our liturgy is that if we just have the thought of our own smallness in the universe, that can cause a lot of fear, right? And a lot of awe, which can be a beautiful thing, but it's also scary in the face of our own insignificance. But then we have the invitation to sing. And song reminds us that our voices are needed and desired by God, and that our role in the world can be beautiful. I am really very grateful to have the chance to sing with you this Shabbat. We'll do a lot more singing as Shabbat goes on and in Havdalah after Shabbat. I'm grateful to be able to experience the awe of being alive together on this Shabbat and to bring those experiences together to restore our souls and return us to our deepest selves. Shabbat Shalom.